Good morning. I would like to call this meeting to order. I would also like to acknowledge the High Desert and Joshua Tree video conferencing sites, and thank you very much for joining us. Our invocation today will be presented by 5th District. Excuse me, 1st District.
Thank you very much. Today, we're pleased to have with us Pastor Mark Graham. Mark Graham is the senior pastor of Abundant Living Family Church, High Desert in Hesperia, California. Abundant Living is a thriving ministry that is extremely connected in the High Desert community, serving over 500 families weekly. In their 15-year existence, they have served over 70,000 people through their compassionate teams in the New Hope Reentry Program, from feeding those who are housing insecure to servicing individuals who are incarcerated, then released, to helping youths who are on probation with individual service plans to get them on track to attend different schools and college. It's on the move. Public Defender's Office and Abundant Living Family Church High Desert were recognized by the National Association of Counties and won an award in the Criminal Justice and Public Safety category. Pastor Mark is a graduate of Purdue University and was a corporate executive for 3M Company before he transitioned into full-time ministry. Currently serves as one of the behavioral health commissioners for the 1st District, is involved in San Bernardino District Attorney's Community Commission, and is part of the Behavioral Health and Community Justice Consensus Committee. Pastor Mark, if you would do the honors, please.
Thank you so much. May we all stand? I want to thank you for the invitation today, for the invocation. May we bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, I would like to thank the Board of Supervisors for their friendship and support, and I pray for God to bless them and guide them in their leadership of the county of San Bernardino and its residents. I pray for the safety and peace of this nation, as well as for the men and women of the Sheriff's Department and local police departments that serve our community here in San Bernardino County as first responders. Now, Lord, I pray for the wisdom and knowledge of every leader of this county. You have entrusted them as stewards of this county and the people that reside here. Guide their hearts as they make decisions that are not easy but necessary. As I close, I pray for the following objectives. We thank you for the county. We thank you for a county in which those who reside and invest can prosper and achieve well-being. We thank you that we are able to create, maintain, and grow jobs and economic value in our county during these challenging economic times. We thank you that county government operations are improving daily and are successful. We thank you that they are providing for the safety, health, and social service needs of all county residents. And finally, we are thankful for the development of a well-planned, balanced, and sustainable county. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. May you put your hand over your heart. Let's say the Pledge of Allegiance together. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We will now move on to our memorial adjournments. Vice Chair Cook.
Yes, thank you very much. I wanted to mention Sandra Luz Gavello of Oak Hills. Sandra was born in Ensenada, Mexico on June 3rd, 1966. She moved to California and grew up in South El Monte. She attended Monte Vista Elementary School, Charles Krantz Middle School, and graduated from Mountain View High School in 1984. She played softball and tennis during high school years. Her gift for writing and organization served her well in journalism class and as editor of the 82-83 high school yearbook. Sandra earned her bachelor's degree in 2007, a master's degree in 2011 from the University of Phoenix. She met her future husband, Sergio, in Sunday school at First Fundamental Bible Church in Monterey Park, California. Married August 14, 1993. On August 14th, 2023, they celebrated their 30th anniversary. On 21st of December 2023, at the age of 57, Sandra passed away. She is survived by her husband, Sergio, and her son Samuel, Seth, and Stephen. And I have the good fortune to have Seth work for me. He is one of our interns, and we discussed this morning this untimely passing, and also join in all her friends and relatives that are going to miss her in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Supervisor Hagman? No. Supervisor Baca? None. Supervisor Armendariz? All right, we have two special presentations today. If I can have my colleagues join me in the well. This morning, we have a special resolution to recognize Francine Beatty, who is retiring after 39 years of service to the county. Francine began her career in 1985 at the county's medical center, now known as Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. And in 1988, she moved to Program Development Division, where she served the rest of her career. We thank you for your dedication to our county, and we wish you well in retirement. If you'd like to come up and join us. Congratulations. It's an awful long time. Would you like to say a few words?
Woo! Thanks for coming, people that came to support me today. It's been a long time. The county's been good to me, and I'm excited for the next part of my retirement.
Thank you. Take a picture here. If anybody would like to join us for photos.
Would you like to join us for pictures? Sharon? Oh,
You
Okay,
sure
all
they're
right.
friends?
no.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
We also have another special resolution to recognize Rachel Madrid, who is retiring after 37 years of service to the county. Rachel began her career in 1986 with the Department of Behavioral Health. She has worked across many departments, including Airport Administration, ARMC, and the Auditor Controller's Office. Thank you very much for your service to the county, and we wish you a happy retirement. If you'd like to join us for a photo.
That's the whole gang, huh? Yeah. Well, you get 'em
Congratulations and thank you again.
Thank you, everybody.
We will now move on to reports from our county council. Tom?
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the case of Elena Navarro et al. Versus County of San Bernardino et al., the Board of Supervisors voted 5-0 to ratify County Council's decision to file a cross-complaint against the plaintiffs and the estate of Gabrielle Navarro in this case involving an automobile accident. Thank you.
Thank you. And reports from our CEO, Luther.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick update regarding the February and March 2023 Storm After Action Report. We expect to have the final version of the report available this week, and we'll be releasing it publicly on Friday. It'll be posted on the county's new preparedness website, and there'll also be some public messaging announcing its release. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much. That brings us to our individual board member comments. Vice Chair Cook.
Nope, I'm fine today.
Supervisor Hagman? Wow, Supervisor Baca.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple things to highlight. I know that, Madam Chair had asked us to highlight our committees, and just one of the committees last week we serve on is San Bernardino County Transit Authority. And one of the great projects that came through there is to put an RFP out for the widening of Waterman exit going eastbound, which will be great for many of our travelers that are heading northbound in San Bernardino and southbound in San Bernardino, but also help alleviate some of the traffic that heads up to the mountain areas up in Lake Arrowhead. This RFP is going out, and it should be going for bid, and then construction will start in the summer, and it should be ready by next fall, next winter. So that'd be great for our travelers that head down there. Just want to announce some great news. Last week, SCAG passed a grant that the County of San Bernardino received for $6.5 million to have a septic to sewer project in the Bloomington community. We think that's great for our community. It's going to allow for future development, future housing there on the Valley Boulevard corridor. That's a great project. The other thing, just want to announce on February 3rd, Kite Day with the Supervisor at Yala Park in Bloomington. It's a great event. It's free of charge. Please invite your kids to come out. It's a great partnership that we have with regional parks, and they provide kites along with our county libraries and many of our county partners that are there. We also work with CFS to try to get some of their kids out there. So these are just some of the things going on in the community. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Supervisor Armendariz. All right, so I attended our San Bernardino International Airport Authority in December, that meeting, and we have new service coming from SBD Airport in San Bernardino, where it's very reasonable to park. On Breeze Airways, we'll be starting up in the new year service to Phoenix. So that's in addition to the nonstop to Vegas. It continues on to Hartford, Connecticut, as well as San Francisco. So that's exciting news for passenger air service. And then on today's agenda, I would like to highlight item number 14. There's an organization, it's a nonprofit up in the mountain communities called Rebuilding Together Mountain Communities. And they they have contractors on their board of directors, and they go out and they help low-income and senior residential homeowners to rebuild areas that they cannot otherwise get help assistance through FEMA, for example, after the snowstorms, or insurance coverage. And so it's been an honor to work with that nonprofit to help financially assist those low-income and elderly folks. And then also I'd like to announce that the county has begun a disaster preparedness campaign to provide resources to residents on how to prepare for things like wildfires, flooding, earthquakes, extreme weather, and more. And that can be found at prepared.sbcounty.gov. And then lastly, I would like to thank Sheriff Shannon Dykes for being willing to come out and host a public safety meeting for our residents in the community of Yucaipa. That will be held at the Yucaipa Performing Arts Center on January 16th at 5:30 in the evening and is open to all residents anywhere. So that's it for me. And the presentation of the agenda. Linda, do we have any changes or modifications?
Yes, we do. Thank you, Madam Chair. Today, item number 48. Item number 48 is being revised. Recommendation 1 to read as follows. Approve amendment number 3 to contract number 19-696 with Knowing LLC for poll book services, amending the scope of work to include cash box services of $4,984 and including a change order process that increases the contract amount by no more than $100,000 for a total increase of $104,984 from $10,658,764 to an amount not to exceed $10,763,748 with no change to the term of the contract from October 22nd, 2019 through October 21st, 2029. The remaining recommendations are unchanged. And item number 53 is being taken off calendar. Those are all the changes I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to our conflicts of interest. If we have a board member wishing to disclose a conflict on any item on today's agenda, now would be the time to do so. All right, I'm going to abstain from item number 61, recommendations number 1D and recommendation 2D. Larry Jacinto Construction donated $2,500 to my campaign on August 9th of 2023. So that brings us to our consent calendar consisting today of items 2 through 61.
Madam Chair, I'll move it if I could just make some comments and highlight a few items, if you don't mind.
Sure, you want to do it now?
Sure. Yeah, just a few items I want to highlight. Item number 2, we're actually adopting a resolution today to recognize the Heisman Trophy winner, Jaden Daniels from Cajon High School, and just announce that on the January 20th, and the Saturday from 10 o'clock, there's going to be a parade to honor him near the Cal State San Bernardino, which will end at Cajon High School, so that's a great thing. Item number 8, it's a non-financial MOU with the San Bernardino City Unified School District and our behavioral health to make sure that our students have behavioral health services. It's a 5-year MOU. We think it's a great opportunity to make sure that many of our children who are having challenges have access to mental health services. So it's a great work on behalf of the staff. Item number 27, what we're doing is we're hiring Daniel Evans, who will be a full-time employee that will be housed at the Agua Mansa Cemetery, which is one of our county museums. We've done a lot of improvements there. I want to thank staff for the improvements, but also having someone on site that could maintain the cemetery, which is great. Item number 34, today we're accepting a $4.5 million grant from the state of California Park Services to help build the animal shelter. So it's going to add additional funding to what the board has already committed to make sure that animal shelter gets built, which is on track for 2026. And the last thing is, district item number 52. I just want to thank Public Works and the staff for putting together this project to add street lighting on Lilac Avenue in the Rialto unincorporated area. And that concludes my comments, Madam Chair, and I'll
Thank you. Any other board members wishing to comment or pull an item? All right, I do not have any requests to speak that I'm aware of. So I had did you move it? So I had a motion from Supervisor Baca, a second from Supervisor Hagman. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And I will abstain on the noted abstentions. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, the consent calendar passes unanimously with you abstaining on 61. Thank you.
All right, our discussion calendar today, we have 2 items. Our first one is item number 62, which is the appointment of a road commissioner being presented by Trevor Leja, and I will open the public hearing. Good morning, Trevor.
Good morning. Chair Rao, members of the board, Trevor Leja, Assistant Executive Officer. So today's public hearing is to consider the appointment of a new county road commissioner. The State Streets and Highways Code, Section 2006A, does require that the board appoint a registered civil engineer as the county road commissioner. And due to a recent retirement of the previous road commissioner, the recommendation to you today is to appoint Noel Castillo as the new county's road commissioner. Noel is a registered civil engineer who is currently serving as the Assistant Director of Public Works and has been with the department for 2 years, and he does oversee the transportation and permitting section as well as other divisions of the department. So Noel meets these qualifications and is well qualified to perform the duties of County Road Commissioner, and so that is our recommendation. That completes my report. I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions of Trevor? All right, I do not have any requests to speak on this item that I know of, so I will close the public hearing and ask for a motion. Thank you, Supervisor Baca for the motion and Supervisor Hagman for the second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, the motion passes. All in favor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item number 63 is the Duke Warehouse at Slover Alder conditional use permit project being presented today by Mark Wardlaw. Good morning, Mark and Heidi. I will open the public hearing.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. I'm Mark Wardlaw, Director of Land Use Services, and I'm here with Heidi Duran, our Planning Director. The item before you this morning is Duke Warehouse project at Slover and Alder. The project was recommended for approval by the Planning
Mark,
Commission.
can I ask you to speak more into the mic for me?
Sure, is that better?
Thank you.
Great, thanks. The project was recommended for approval by the Planning Commission on September 21st, 2023, and it consists of a conditional use permit for a high cube warehouse for storage and distribution on a 3.23 acre site in the community of Bloomington. The project also includes a community benefit agreement that requires approval of the Board of Supervisors. The project includes the construction of approximately a 260,000 square foot high cube warehouse with 5,000 square feet of office space. The design incorporates 8 to 12-foot screening walls along the property boundary with landscape buffer areas that include more than 200 trees to screen and shield the building. There are 131 parking stalls and 10 vehicle charging stations provided on site. Loading docks are designed to be screened from public view and buffered from adjacent uses. Access for trucks is provided by 2 access driveways on Slover Avenue, and there's a 30-foot fire access driveway located along the southerly boundary of the site. These elevations show the articulated building facade, screening walls, and landscaping. The site plan shows the proposed warehouse with landscape setbacks and access on both Alder and Slover Avenue. The previously mentioned truck access occurs on the site from Slover with passenger vehicle and emergency access along Alder. The project site is located in the Bloomington community, south of Interstate 10, on the southeast corner of Slover and Alder Avenues. The site is located in the limited industrial land use category and community industrial zoning category, which provides for industrial lands and sites for industrial development purposes. The site is approximately 1,800 feet west and 1,700 feet south of the environmental justice focus area boundary. The draft environmental impact report identified potentially significant impacts and included mitigation measures to address them. The final EIR concludes that with project design features and the adoption of mitigation measures, the project will not result in significant, unavoidable impacts to all of the CEQA resource areas. The project is consistent with the limited industrial land use category and the community industrial zoning district. The proposed street improvements will address and enhance pedestrian safety, and a traffic signal will be installed to address traffic impacts. The notice of preparation and project hearing notices were sent to surrounding properties within 1,300 feet of the project site. Staff received 26 comment letters in opposition and 2 in support, with an additional 4 late comment letters received after the public review period. 2 community meetings were held with the Bloomington Municipal Advisory Council, one in December of 2021 and the second in February of 2023. The applicant has voluntarily committed to a community benefit agreement as part of the overall consideration of the project by the Board of Supervisors. The agreement proposes various public benefits, including, but not limited to, an annual 15-year contribution of approximately $38,922 for service enhancement activities for the Bloomington area, a lump sum contribution of $648,702 for Kessler Park improvements, and it requires local hiring. The Planning Commission conducted the public hearing on September 21st, 2023. Public comment included 16 individuals, 5 in favor and 11 opposed, sharing concerns about air quality impacts, land use consistency, traffic impacts, pedestrian safety due to the proximity of the project to Bloomington High School. The Planning Commission recommended the Board of Supervisors approve the project by unanimous vote with 2 commissioners absent. The project is consistent with the countywide policy plan and the development code with approval of a conditional use permit. Staff recommends approval of the project, and that concludes our presentation. The applicant has a presentation for the board as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have the applicant's project queued up, ready to go? Mark and Heidi, I'll have you come back after this presentation. Thank you. Good morning.
Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Great. Good morning, Chair, Board of Supervisors. My name is Nicole Torstvedt, and I am pleased to be joining you today with our CEQA consultant, Jeremy Kraut. We would like to express our gratitude for county staff, especially Aaron Lang and Heidi Duran, who have been instrumental in bringing this project to this stage. Their diligence ensures that we present a project that meets the county high standards, and we appreciate their partnership in getting this project to the board. As we progress through the project, Duke Realty merged with Prologis. Prologis is a publicly owned real estate investment trust with a focus on owning, developing, and managing Class A logistics real estate properties over the long term. We pride ourselves on presenting superior projects that attract quality tenants and facilitate job creation. We are proud to share that Prologis has consistently been acknowledged as a top sustainable real estate company in the world. All of our projects, at the very least, meet LEED Silver certification standards, highlighting our commitment to environmental leadership. Prologis also holds the distinction of being the second largest producer of on-site solar energy in the country, trailing only behind Target. We are aiming to achieve carbon neutrality in our construction and our operational activities by 2025, further demonstrating our commitment to sustainability. Prologis is a longtime and leading partner with the County of San Bernardino, having continuously given back to the county, whether volunteering with local groups or providing financial resources for scholarships and sponsorships. As staff mentioned, we held 2 MAC meetings, one in 2021 and one in 2022, or 23, excuse me. The second meeting did have positive feedback. We also met with Bloomington High School principal to gauge our community partners, and we hosted a career day with Bloomington High School's Business Pathways program. With every project, we look to see how we can benefit the community in which we are a part of. Specific to this project, we sponsored the Bloomington Little League, participated in opening day ceremonies, and gave out some cool swag. We sponsored the Olive Branch to help support resources for women and children, and we participated in the 5th District Toy Drive. As far as long-term community benefits, we're proposing the community benefit agreement, as staff mentioned, including a one-time contribution of $648,702 to help fund Kessler Park Field of Dreams, the annual contribution of $38,922 for the county to use towards infrastructure improvements, park operations and maintenance, and enhance public safety for Bloomington at the county's discretion. Our off-site improvements totaling approximately $1 million, including sidewalks and a traffic signal for enhanced safety, and the creation of well-paying construction union jobs and permanent jobs within the office and warehouse facility. With that, I'll pass it over to Jeremy to discuss the technical portions of the project.
Thank you, Nicole. Jeremy Crowd, again, EPD Solutions, the environmental consultant for the county on this project. And what I will just briefly touch on first is just, as you heard from Mark, the project is consistent with the county code and countywide plan. Nevertheless, we were involved from the beginning to look at the compatibility issues with the neighboring residents and, of course, the high school, and involved in that design element to ensure that the design of the project, including where the building was designed to have the truck docks be facing to the north away from the residents and the high school. So a lot of that element was factored into the analysis, and feedback was given as part of this work that we have done in the EIR. Relative to the environmental justice issue, I want to just point out that the project is not within an environmental justice area within the county. However, nevertheless, we were treating it as it was a part of it, in the sense that we looked at additional noticing requirements. We factored that into the process that we were working on. We sent out bilingual notices. We sent it out to the larger area that was considered. And in addition to that, we did look at the analysis from the standpoint of health risk assessment and the higher thresholds that are considered in the policies of the countywide plan. And as shown on this slide, the construction emissions were significantly below the threshold at 0.98 and 1 million, far below the 10 and 1 million threshold. And then also on the cancer risk attribute attributable to the project operations, which is an important component of environmental justice, it was also far below the threshold at 1.4 per million persons, which is far below the 10 per million persons threshold that is in the county's standards. In addition, the project, as the analysis progressed, we ensured that the Attorney General best practices were considered and implemented in the project. As I mentioned, the community engagement, and you heard from Nicole about the engagement with the community and bilingual noticing, looking at the dock doors and internal truck circulation away from sensitive receptors, posting the directional signs for trucks, incorporating sufficient on-site parking to prevent trucks from parking on public streets, the air quality impact analysis, greenhouse gas analysis, energy analysis, operational and construction health risk analyses were also conducted. In addition, in response to comment letters received from the district, a comprehensive comprehensive health risk assessment was conducted and included in the public record, which is before you today, and that accounted for all projects, all the warehouse projects in the area, and planned for as well. So that analysis is in your record as well. And then we required construction on-road heavy-duty haul trucks to be model year 2010 or newer if diesel engines were accommodated in those trucks. And then heavy-duty trucks entering and operating the site to be zero emission beginning in 2030 if commercially available. And finally, requiring light and medium-duty trucks that are part of the business operation to be zero emission. And then as far as sustainability requirements, we heard a little bit from Nicole about that as well. They have higher levels from a Prologis standpoint to implement those as part of the project, including zero emission trucks and truck charging infrastructure to allow for that in the future. And then I just have one final piece from the standpoint of the EIR. We did receive the late comment letters that you heard from Mark. All those have been reviewed and considered as part of the analysis that was conducted. No additional issues were raised that were not already identified previously and analyzed in the studies that were provided in the EIR and in the final EIR and the responses to comments, including the health risk analysis that was, as I mentioned before. But one point I want to make in the record is that in table 3.11-7 of the draft EIR, there is reference to an incorrect county standard for the mobile sources for noise, and that was identified as 55 dBA in the daytime and 45 at night. The actual standard for mobile sources is 60 dBA in the day and 60 at night. And that's relative to forklifts being used on the site. And so with that standard, there is no impact. And then further in the noise analysis, just want to point out that we did not take into account from a conservative basis, the 12-foot wall that is a screen wall in the south to protect the residences from noise. And that with that wall, it also further reduces the noise levels. And with both, the project still is under the impact threshold in the county standards. And so no findings need to be changed in the EIR, and the determination in the EIR stands. With that, I'm available for any questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Kurt?
Thank you for the presentation. I'm very curious, with my other hat of South Coast Air Quality Management, I'm on that. With these new 2030 standards for trucks, what does that look for, a developer like Prologis or the ones, that's a lot of more energy going to it. And I know some other projects having some grid problems with Edison, our provider. So are you plan for all that going forward?
So we will have solar on the building. We will have all of the conduit already to all of the dock doors as well as parking stalls. We're working with SCE as far as power goes.
Yeah, it's going to be in the future. I'm just, as long as you got the plumbing in for the lines going forward, we're good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, if there are no other questions, I'll ask you to take a seat back up in the audience there. And we will now move on to public comment. My first request to speak that I have is from Zach Strasters, followed by Gio Van Artstalen. No. Is the button on the bottom of the mic should illuminate green?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, better, thank you.
All right. So let me ask you, what's Bloomington worth? One traffic signal? 1 million? Lead silver? Let me tell you that Prologis has over $42 billion in assets controlled internationally. They are capable of, and in fact should be accountable for, complete infrastructure renovation anywhere that they build. And if we at the SB County level do not hold them accountable, given the power of this board, then let me make it clear, no one else will. $1 million as a community benefits payout is a sad excuse. This project should be putting $1 million back into DPM cancer in children research every year annually. Not to mention everything else they've already promised. And lead silver is not how even net zero by 2040, which is their projection, is going to be achieved. Every single project that breaks dirt that Prologis name is on should be LEED Platinum without any conversation. That should be the expectation. Why does Holland get these completely self-sustaining buildings, and then when they come back to the IE, they want to give us the bare minimum? You know why? Because they are not being held accountable at these smaller city levels. But this board has the power to hold them accountable. This board is educated. This board is capable. If there's anybody that's going to hold the line, the county must hold the line. And listen, what about our grid this summer? What about the consistent strain that we put on it? We know that Southern California is not going to meet the projections that we're trying to hit with regards to sustainability for wind or offshore wind or solar. So we know that this building, in order to make sense for our grid, not only for the IE, but for LA, that it has to be 100% self-sustainable with regards to solar. Prologis has the technology. Prologis has the money. The only thing stopping them is knowing that they can get away without doing it at this level. Let me say this. You will be held accountable for every single project you approve. Some developers do not have the means to put their projects forward and make it pencil out. These guys do. Hold the line. Protect the people. Demand more. San Bernardino County is worth it. Bloomington is worth it. Prologis knows it. We need you to protect our people. Thank you.
Gio Van Artstalen, followed by Wanye McDonald.
Greetings, esteemed council and fellow citizens. I, Giovanni Van Arston, is speaking in opposition to the Slover and Alder warehouse. From a practical perspective, we know that desire to the board is to approve the projects for the sake of bringing jobs to residents. Citizens, in fact, depend on the board to look out for the best interests economically. However, in this case, looking out for the best interests of the community actually means holding Prologis accountable for doing more. Prologis' net worth is $24 billion with $46 billion in assets under management throughout North America, Europe, Asia, and South America. They are the biggest player in the industrial tilt-up game. Allowing Prologis to leave this hearing with anything less than $10 million in the direct community benefits to fix roads, up in air filters in all nearby homes and schools, and leave another $10 million in reserve funds for the kids to get sick playing outside in less than best interest. If a family works for the car and they get in a wreck because of traffic, pop their tire because of potholes, if their kids get sick from school or anything else, that is an avoidable consequence, but their elected officials fail to hold the developers accountable for what they can provide. Then we have failed the people. Deny the project. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Wanya McDonald, followed by David Martinez.
Good morning. I am here to speak in opposition of the Prologistic project on Slover, demanding immediate electrification of all fleets affiliated with Prologistic's warehouse is the only logistic alternative to universal warehouse to ensure the safety of our citizens in Bloomington and throughout the IE. Tackling major issues of our time is Tackling both major issues of our time is what both Prologistics and this board must focus on regarding individual warehousing. There is no one else on the planet with the same power as those in the room today. According to the 2014 report by California Cancer Registry of the California Department of Public Health, San Bernardino County ranked number 5 in cancer-related deaths behind only Los Angeles, San Diego, Orange, and Riverside. And the reason is not population. San Francisco counties ranked much lower, and the reason most would be logically argued is pollution control, not totally population. We are not saying deny the project. We are asking for you to demand a better community benefit package that takes care of our people. Postpone the project until our concerns postpone the project until our concerns with denial with the project outright. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much. David Martinez, who will be followed by Andrew Graff.
Good morning. My name is David Martinez, and I would express my opposition on this project on Slover and Outler. Bloomington has such an opportunity at several occasions, and thus these have been unsuccessful. As a result of governance, the census designated places known as Bloomington, including the approval of denial of certain development projects, has immediately fallen into the hands of San Bernardino and the country boards of supervisors. Likewise, this body has has don't justly considered many projects that have came before, as many has been industrial warehouses, as many have been of larger scopes than this, and it's not may have seen warrant as a great deal of cauterization. However, I am here this morning to suggest to the border that there is a particularly sensitivity to the subject in stake here, that the people of Bloomington need to pay attention to a bold step towards this full-fleet. This project offers a large warehouse development and the world opportunity to take as a bold step towards full fleet electrification. This project also offers San Bernardino, the border supervisors, opportunity to stand out as composition pioneers governing sea only through Southern California, but potentially the world has held a very lucrative company accountable for making these unnecessary a judgment to their community benefits packagings to ensure the health of the safety concentrary. Do not take this size of a project because it's discarded. The golden opportunity is to send all industrial developments all over the world that are here to build. You must pay by the rules, and our rules say to take care of our people, do the right thing, deny this project to apologists, return with a better community benefit package. Thank you, and God bless you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. Andrew Graff, followed by Robert Ramos.
Good morning, Chair Rowe and Supervisors. My name is Andrew Graff, here on behalf of California Allied for Responsible Economy in opposition to the Slover and Alder project. This morning, we submitted written comments in response to the staff report, which demonstrate that the county has not complied with CEQA, and the project is inconsistent with local land use laws. The board should not approve this project until these issues have been resolved. I will highlight a few of the EIR's deficiencies and refer the board to our written comments, which more fully explain why the EIR must be revised and recirculated for public review before the project can be considered for approval. First, CEQA guidelines section 15088.5 requires a lead agency to recirculate an EIR when significant new information is added before the EIR is certified. New information includes additional studies or data. The staff report states that a new cumulative health risk assessment was prepared in response to public comments in support of the EIR's conclusion that health risks are less than significant. This HRA was not part of the draft EIR and is not attached to the staff report. The health risk assessment constitutes new information which must be recirculated in a revised EIR for public review. CEQA also prohibits the county from relying on hidden studies that have not been made available to the public. Second, the EIR fails to disclose and mitigate the project's potentially significant transportation impacts and greenhouse gas emissions from heavy-duty truck trips by underestimating the number and length of the project's truck trips. CARECA's experts found that actual truck trips may be 20 to 30 miles longer based on the distances to the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, which are common warehouse supply pipelines, and that the number of trucks traveling to and from the project site may be over 30% higher than assumed in the EIR. The project will therefore result in higher NOx, PM 2.5, greenhouse gas emissions than analyzed in the EIR, rendering the EIR's conclusions invalid. And finally, the applicant has not demonstrated compliance with the general plan workforce policies. Policy ED-2.3 of the general plan promotes industry-driven workforce education and training programs to expand industry-specific skills in the county's labor force. The project lacks local workforce training or benefits for its construction workforce. The applicant should consider including these benefits in projects to comply with policy ED-3 and promote training opportunities for local construction workers. We respectfully request that the board direct staff to revise the EIR to address its many defects and recirculate it for public review before bringing the project back for public approval. Thank you for considering our comments.
Thank you. Robert Ramos, followed by Louis Lopez.
Good morning, Chair, Board of Supervisors. My name is Robert Ramos. I'm the business agent for the Iron Workers Local 416. I'm here representing the Iron Workers 416, and we are in opposition of this project. Local 416 proudly supports veterans of formerly incarcerated and all those looking for an honest shot at a second chance. This project could easily participate in the same type of support, but Prologis is actively choosing not to. Until a clear commitment to all of our skilled and trained workforce is made, we ask that this project be denied. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Louis Lopez, followed by Amy Smith. Good morning, Louis. I see you back there.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Madam Chair, supervisors, staff, and community. My name is Louis Lopez. I'm here on behalf of the thousands of hardworking men and women at the Ironworkers Local 433, and unfortunately, we stand in opposition to this project. Every project that is brought forth is an opportunity to strengthen our middle class in San Bernardino County. We are speaking to support the community. We want to assure that our community is getting the most of every development that comes our way. Please assure that local trained workforce and our community is benefiting from this project. Everyone deserves to benefit from this project. And at this time, Prologis has decided not to include the ironworkers in this project. So I humbly ask that the Board of Supervisors at this time do not pass this project under the current conditions and allow the ironworkers and Prologis to have further discussions and promote a true project of unity that will benefit a broader scope of community. I would like to add that being a Workforce Development Board member, I see the need to reach as many as possible with local hire, along with the utilization of our local apprenticeship programs. We have recently been at a similar crossroads in another city in the Inland Empire with Prologis, where we were able to bring a solution forward. I ask that we can move in that same direction again and allow more time and effort for this project to be passed with the ironworkers included. Thank you, and may God continue to bless the County of San Bernardino.
Thank you, Louis. Amy Smith, followed by Jason Chefs. It's tall.
Hi, good morning. My name is Amy Smith, and I'm here on behalf of CARE California. Today, we would like to address our continued issues with this warehouse project and its significant impact on the environment and our surrounding community. The EIR has assumed, without evidence, mind you, that the project will include only low-intensity warehouse uses and short-distance truck trips of 40 miles or less, and includes no mitigation for transportation or GHG impacts. So let's make this clear and transparent, like Prologis is obviously being, and talk about this in the real regard. It's not clear what type of warehouse there's going to be used, and the results from the project, and therefore we have an EIR that doesn't mitigate due to the fact that we haven't known what to mitigate. Clear, everybody? Cool, thank you. With this said, it only follows that the county must analyze, disclose, and mitigate the true impacts of what is going to be associated with this project and create a revised EIR. This is the responsible course of action to be taken, and it is your duty as supervisors of this beautiful county and to every citizen and resident here to make sure that their cares and their health is respected in every regard at every step. This is not a step that you should be taking yet. It needs to be clear, and transparency is necessary. That is how government works. We are transparent. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Jason Chefs, followed by Alondra Mateo.
Good morning. My name is Jason Chefs. I'm here as a representative of the United Association Local 364 Plumbers and Pipe Fitters. We stand strongly against this Lover and Alder warehouse project. Prologis has failed once again to assure that this project is equitable and will benefit all of the local residents. They have sent a clear message that they are here only to make profit at the expense of the workers of this community. We cannot and will not stand idly by while our men and women are overlooked for an opportunity to work in their own backyards. Prologis needs to commit to responsible contractors and local hire. We do not support this project, and neither should you. Thank you.
Thank you. Alondra Mateo, followed by Miguel Munoz.
Hi, can you hear me? Okay. Hello, my name is Alondra Mateo. I work with the People's Collective for Environmental Justice, and I volunteer with the Concerned Neighbors of Bloomington. I'm here to urge you to vote no on the Duke Warehouse on Slover and Alder. We have seen time and time again projects like these put in communities like Bloomington. The warehouses and the logistics industry tied behind them are like a tumor that just grows and spreads until it affects every part of the communities that they're in. To better the physical health of the community, you could have done this with air filtration, solar energy projects, and funding projects to improve pedestrian safety, but instead you keep adding warehouse projects and you keep increasing the amount of trucks that drive throughout Bloomington 24/7. We needed you to nurture the traditions and the culture that have made this community so strong. We see the loss of housing that is already scarce and that is leading to the loss of the equestrian culture of Bloomington. In that intersection of Slover and Alder, the only crosswalk that is there is a light-up button, which can't even be seen by cars in the daytime. It feels so risky to cross such a long intersection, especially when cars only slow down when they see you walking by. This project is only a 3-minute walk to Bloomington High School. I've already talked to people that have lost family members because that truck hit them in Bloomington. Don't let our kids have a higher risk. Just because you say that trucks can't go down that street doesn't mean that they won't. We see trucks driving all throughout Bloomington 24/7. There is already a disproportionate lack of maintenance, constant targeting, and lack of resources besides parks and besides roads in Bloomington. This proposal is another attack on the Bloomington community, on the Latina community, and on human rights, to be frank. We are tired of hearing that the damage to our community has no significant impact and that minimal mitigation is enough to make it worth it. I urge you to deny this project and begin bringing forth a positive change. Reach out to community, not just the organizations that are tied with our government officials, and work with us to fix the damage that has already been done and is continuing to be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Miguel Munoz, followed by Felipe Ortiz.
Hello, my name is Miguel. I've been a resident of Bloomington for over a decade, and I oppose the construction of this warehouse that again makes claims that it will improve my community. Warehouses have only really taken the few spaces that we use to walk our dogs, ride our bikes, and our horses, and they do not replace the spaces. Once they're gone, they're gone. They do not really make our lives in Bloomington better. They don't give us new parks that we can use to practice our equestrian culture and our traditions. And in fact, the increase of trucks has only made our roads more unsafe. There's nowhere to ride our horses anymore if there's more trucks. The trucks have given us more potholes. As it was previously mentioned, the maintenance is already pretty low. With the addition of more potholes, it's just worse. And my biggest concern of all is that the neighbors of Bloomington haven't truly been informed. As a resident myself, I can confirm that there's not much information being given to our neighbors, and thus we're not really informed of the situation that's happening. As a predominantly speaking homes, there's been even less bilingual communication to all of our residents. And I urge you to deny this project. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Felipe Ortiz, followed by Joaquin Castillos.
This is a Spanish interpreter.
Just one moment, if you allow us to reset the time for the additional time.
You'll have additional time.
Vamos a dar tiempo adicional. Okay. Dime, a ver.
Mi nombre es Felipe Ortiz
My name is Felipe Ortiz.
y vengo a hablar por lo de las bodegas que están haciendo, que nos están dañando.
I'm here to talk about the warehouses as a topic today, that it's affecting us.
Por mucho tráfico, muchos trailers.
There's too many big rigs, trailers, too much traffic.
Y salgo a montarlo con mis hijos y en vez de cuidar a mi hijo que me le vaya a tumbar un caballo.
Yeah, so we ride horses a lot, me and my kids, and I'm just afraid that one of them is going to suffer something dangerous.
Andamos cuidándonos de los trailers porque pasan muy fuerte.
So we're always watching out for the trailers because they pass by very fast.
En vez de beneficiar a uno, nos están afectando.
So instead of we receiving any type of benefit, it's affecting us.
Y quería pues, que no se haga, que nos apoyen también a nosotros, tenemos voz.
And we, as citizens, we want to receive support also.
Y no traigo ni un papel, todo lo que traigo es porque yo lo he mirado y ha pasado.
I didn't bring any documents to show you. All I bring you is what I'm saying because I have seen it. And that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Joaquin Castillos, followed by Esmeralda Tabares.
Good morning, County Board of Supervisors and community. My name is Joaquin Castillos, longtime resident of Bloomington and a community organizer with the Center for Community Action and Environmental Justice. I'm here to speak in opposition to the Duke warehouse on Alder and Slover. The community of Bloomington has been a longtime target of the logistics industry, from truck stops to truck terminals to warehouses. And this onslaught has not stopped in the last 5 years. We have seen it exponentially grow. We have seen parts of our community disappear. And we have seen the increased danger of for community to even live, work, bike, ride horses in the area. Bloomington is considered an environmental justice focus area because it exceeds the 75th percentile threshold on the Cal Enviro screen. All census tracts in Bloomington are in the highest percentile for pollution burden, PM 2.5, and diesel pollution compared to census tracts all across the state. But isn't it weird that just across the street, the area and that the Duke warehouse is placed isn't considered part of the environmental justice focus area? That's because on the Cal Enviro screen, the census tract that the Duke warehouse is placed in is one of the largest in the whole county. It extends from the west end of Fontana on Mulberry Avenue all the way to Locust Avenue, diluting the area in which the Duke warehouse is, and mixing it with all the areas that have nothing to do with where this is placed. If you look at the EJ screen by the EPA, you'll see the true data of the impacts that this area is facing, and it shows that this part of the community, it faces the same impacts that it does across the street and should be considered part of the environmental justice focus area and should have never been zone industrial. This area of Bloomington has been long impacted and has schools just down the street, students walking, and despite all the impacts and the negative impacts that we foresee with this project, there's nothing that is being done enough. No $1 million sidewalks is not enough to address these concerns. What we need is for the county to pull this item or to deny this project today and take a good look at the EIR. When the Cedar Terminal came, we had supervisors here saying that we needed it for the good of the county, like Kurt Hagman saying that we needed it for the good of the county. Well, this is not about the county. This is about Bloomington. It's about the people of Bloomington. It's not about nobody else. And unfortunately, the only people we have to represent us is you 5. So when you vote on this project, don't think about the county. Think about Bloomington.
Thank you. Esmeralda Tabares, followed by Darby Osnaya.
Hi, I am Esmeralda, designer, future architect, and advocate for the hometown of Bloomington. I attended Bloomington High School and continue to reside in Bloomington for its beauty and rural lifestyle. We are a long-established rural community that deserves to keep its soul and essence, as many of the affluent communities have taken for granted. Most of my neighbors are like me, beautiful, obviously, but most importantly, we yearn for a better quality of life. We shouldn't have to ask for the bare minimum. I've had breathing problems due to asthma, and I continue to bear witness to the disastrous repercussions of a logistics industry in my community. We continually get the short stick of developers and our county's deals. There is no pity for our health. Where are the studies behind the effects of pollution brought by the increased semi-trucks and traffic? What does carbon neutrality do for our community if it's only for the building and not for the semi-trucks? If it's carbon neutral, then green roofs should be explored. No amount of trees can cover the amount of increased square footage of concrete that is to take over the previously porous ground from rural zoning. To pass a project under the guise of, you'll get jobs from this and we'll give money to your community is utter disrespect and offensive to my generation. I hope and pray that you do what your community has been advocating for through these past years, with indignance at the amount of times we've been ignored and pushed aside because we don't know what our community needs or wants. As a member of the Concerned Neighbors of Bloomington, I ask you to please make this project go the extra mile and make your vote align with community. Put people before money. Let me breathe. Make real change with me and protect my hometown Bloomington from warehouse projects. Bloomington no se vende. Bloomington is not for sale. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Darby Osnaya, followed by Mina Torres.
Hello, good morning. Darby Osnaya, any and every pronoun. I am on Tongva land. We are currently on Yuhaviatam land. I want to acknowledge that because the land keeps getting raped and stolen, especially by developers. And we're just tired of it. And we're getting people from all over the community, from union workers, from healthcare workers, from people who live in the community. I'm also part of the People's Collective Environmental Justice, and we're letting y'all know. So please, please, please pay attention. We're just done with it. If this developer really cared, they would be giving the land back, giving it to the community so that they can choose what to do with it. Not the Board of Supervisors, but the actual people who live there. You look at Bloomington and it's missing so much on top of proper infrastructure for the roads, which they're only going to take care of their part. On El Verino Road, there's new warehouses there that only jushed up, and for those who don't know drag culture, it's prettied. They made it pretty, their area. But not even a block away from where the new warehouses are, when it rained, very little rain, it was already ruined. The street was ruined where the residents live. So they're obviously not going to take care of anything outside their little bubble. So they're already showing, like they came and showed pictures of what they do for the community. Stop grabbing cheap land and making it expensive for folks to live there and making it commercial. Stop doing that. Give it to the people. You have the money, you have billions of dollars, which is way more than most people can spend in a lifetime, than families can spend in generations. So why not just give it to them? If you really care about the community, let the community lead. But this developer obviously doesn't. They see cheap land, they see cheap jobs, they see people that they consider cheap. They're not even trying to work with the iron workers. That's a disgrace. If they're not even trying to work with local unions, that goes to show that they're already from the beginning not even trying to work with the people who would be getting a livable wage from building this. So it's just from the jump a bad idea. You go to Bloomington, it used to be more rural. It's so corporate or so industrial now, it's ridiculous. Like I'm here to say, Bloomington is not for sale. Bloomington no se vende. It's ridiculous that you have the power to do so much and you grab so much money from this municipality and you don't give back anything to it. They need more parks, they need more green spaces, they need more schools, they need more, they need a grocery store, a little plaza area, shopping center for them. The only grocery store I can think of is Stater Brothers in north end of Bloomington. South of Bloomington have nothing. So there's so many more projects that you can approve, so much more that you can do for this city, for this municipality. So please, if the developer cares, they'd really be putting the community first and not here fighting for their little land grab. Thank you.
Thank you. Mina Torres is the last request to speak that I have.
Good morning, County Supervisors and community. My name is Mina Torres. I've lived in the city of Bloomington for 32 years. I would like to ask you vote against agenda item number 63 due to the fact that it will be built 300 feet away from Bloomington High School. Hundreds of trucks drive into the residential area. I've attended the Bloomington committee meeting not too long ago, MAC, where some of the law enforcement and fire department made a presentation, and it is a disgrace that they are even blocked from getting to emergency situations. That could be our spouse, our child, anybody in the school. I ask that you think about that. They create unsafe roads for students, drivers, and walk-in residents. Bloomington is already high pollution due to nearby warehouses and trains in the train that drives by or that goes by. Colton Unified School District is requesting a hospital-grade air purifier so that they can address the pollution. That is not enough. Bloomington is a majority community of color, and this, in my opinion, is environmental racism. I asked the supervisors, would this living environment be okay for your kids and your family? I suspect not. It is not okay for the Bloomington residents either. What you do affects us, and what we do affects you. We voted you in, and I hope you remember why you are here. You are here to represent your constituents. Yes, you, the elected officials, should stay in touch with the needs of your constituents, and that is the Bloomington residents. Thank you.
Thank you. We did have one request to speak that signed up under general public comment, and I'm going to bring Mario Durazo up to speak on this item now.
Hello. My name is Maria Fernanda, and I've been a resident of Bloomington for 25 years. I just want to say that Bloomington has changed drastically due to all these companies coming in and taking advantage of the community, and I urge you to deny this project since it does not benefit anyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I believe that that is the last request to speak that I have on this item. All right, I will now close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for questions. Mark and Heidi, would you like to join us back up at the table?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have any questions, but just comments. Just a couple things. I want to thank all the activists, the community residents, and organized labor for being here and really voicing their opinion today. You know, one of the things I didn't hear today is I didn't hear anyone excited about this project. I didn't hear anyone say anything positive about this project. I'm not an anti-warehouse person because I have voted for warehouse projects in Bloomington. But the difference between this project and the other projects that have come forward is there's probably been a little more community outreach. There's probably been a little more mitigation done for some of the projects. I think that's important to keep in mind. For this project, I received a letter today from the Colton Joint Unified School District listing their concerns, and I'd like to see these concerns be addressed, you know, before we take action on this. I'm not prepared to take action or vote on it today. If it is up for a vote, I will be voting against it. It's interesting here, organized labor. You know, we have two labor unions that are here represented, one in the city of San Bernardino, one in the city of Colton. These are gentlemen and ladies that are local hire. Hopefully we can keep that in mind and consider having local hire. That's very, very important. In regards to their outreach, you know, they mentioned that they reached out to Bloomington High School principal. Well, the principal's not the policymakers. The Board of Education and their staff is the one that's bringing opposition to this and has a whole list of concerns. And I'm not going to go over these concerns. And just, you know, one of the things we haven't addressed is at some point in time we need to do is address the truck routes in Bloomington. I think it's important. Those have not been addressed. I know this is zoned commercial. I mean, this zoning was done prior to my tenure on the council, probably inappropriately zoned because it is 340 feet from Bloomington High School. That's a concern too. It just, you know, I was a teacher at Bloomington High School. One of the challenges is the traffic. You go in the AM between 7:30 to 8:30 and 3 to 3:30. I mean, it's just a problem. But I will ask today that we continue this item and see if these items can be addressed. Some of the comments of organized labor, and I'm just not prepared to vote on it today. So I'm asking we could continue this item and get these items addressed, especially the school district. When the school district has concerns, that really puts up red flags for me. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Vice Chair Cook?
Yes. You know, I kind of share some of the concerns of my colleague. You know, there's certain issues that were not addressed at all. And one of which is I was approached by Burlington Northern a number of months ago. And their agenda item was basically they were concerned about, the possibilities of pollution and everything else. And they had a proposal about having a particular type of railroad train that would be able to meet the cargo in Long Beach. And you've heard me talk about this before. And I thought, this is great because since I've been on air, we've heard concerns about pollution, accidents, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And in that proposal, if I remember right, you would meet them right there, and then it would go directly up, in this case, to Barstow. Now, this was the railroad that was proposing this, so I said, whoa, they've been getting beat up on some of these things. So I thought, well, maybe this might be a good idea, and I'm not sure what's going to be in the warehouse or anything. But the pollution and everything else is something that worries me. I'm always concerned about the past. I've been very vocal about the fact that Caltrans is not prepared to at least have an exercise where you do the earthquake scenario. Anyway, I think there's a number of issues that I also have right now. I'm usually not in a I don't want to avoid something. Usually we bring it up. We have all this time and everything, but this is too important. And I share my my colleagues' sentiments on that, and that maybe we could screen the board and see if they have certain concerns that they would have addressed before we had a vote on this issue. Thank you.
From what I'm hearing today, Supervisor Armendariz, do you want to?
Yes, I want to chime in on a couple of things. Board Member Baca had said C1. Is this C1 or is it industrial zoned?
It is industrial, community industrial.
Okay, so my next statement's make. This is a by right project, correct?
It does require a conditional use permit, so it through the zoning it is allowed, but through a discretionary review.
What's the CUP required for?
To be able to impose appropriate conditions, do the proper environmental review, and get all the, it's really for the conditions of approval and operational.
Is that for every industrial project we have? We have a CUP process?
Either a minor use permit or conditional use permit. They are all discretionary. We don't have by right industrial projects.
So everything in industrial from the county's perspective is a conditional use?
Correct.
Okay. Community benefit agreements aren't required here. Is that correct or not?
They are voluntary. I don't know if Luther wanted to elaborate a little bit further, but they are voluntary at this time.
And that's enough for what I'm getting at. There have been comments made under public comment that state that people should be giving more, billions of dollars, et cetera. I don't find that to be factual because a community benefit agreement that's not required is a gesture of good faith. It's an olive branch. It's a way to say, hey, we hear you and here's what we're willing to do. I don't think we should at any time ever consider a project just by its community benefit alone, nor do I believe that we should penalize someone for being successful and saying they have to pay more because they make more. So those two issues I want to put out there. I believe in that community benefit agreement, they said they were going to support local hire, so I'm not really understanding where the debate of local hire is coming from the dais where people spoke about it, because I thought that was in their agreement, and if it isn't, then we really have to have that discussion, but it's my understanding it is.
Yes.
And it said union local hire at that.
I'm not sure if it says union, but it does say local, Bloomington local resident.
With the things that is what I'm going off of. Someone said something about the land is cheap. There's nothing cheap about industrial land. I can tell you that firsthand. It's some of the most expensive land out there. And duly right, it's very profitable business. I think when we consider these things, if this is properly zoned and it meets all the requirements, The discussion should not be, a negotiation of public benefit. It should be, does this project meet the requirements that the county has set forth ahead of time? But I do want to honor my fellow colleagues' want to investigate and work with the school district a little more to figure these things out. And for me, if there are any other comments, I'd ask we table it until he can have that discussion, if there are no other comments.
I have a question. So this project was not scheduled originally or should not have originally come to the Board of Supervisors. Is that correct?
The conditional use permit is within the decision-making power of the Planning Commission. And so that section, this piece of it, need not have come to the board.
Okay. And I have opened and closed a public hearing. We have an appropriate zone, whether it was appropriately cited and how the county had it laid out is certainly, I can appreciate that. But because I have the public hearing that's been opened and closed and a developer that had an expectation to have this heard and probably adjudicated at the Planning Commission, and now we've carried it here, my motion would be to carry this and to continue this item to January 23rd and encourage Prologis and the developer to work with all of the entities involved so that we can find resolve between now and then.
The applicant is in agreement with the continuance.
Thank you. I motioned. I need a second.
I just have a question too. I did not receive the letter from the school district. I'm looking through my documents here. I don't know if it just went to Supervisor Bach or not. I'm concerned with the last minute stuff. I mean, this started, I'm looking at the presentation. We had 2 MAC meetings started in 2021. If there's concerns, they should be, especially from public entities, they should be put out way before the last and final hearing. And I'm gonna sit there and at least have some of those responses. And I don't know what their concerns are because I didn't get a copy of that. So I would like to put that a notice back to the school district, shaming them waiting until the last minute to give out letters. This, I'm for this project. I don't mind waiting for another board meeting to vote on this. It meets our zoning, already we're not changing zoning or anything. I don't like the last minute issues coming up when they had 2 years to present their concerns, and we had full Planning Commission hearings on this as well and come out 100% supported by our Planning Commission.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
So with that, the motion to continue this item to January 23rd passes. All in favor.
Thank you very much. That brings us to our public comments for items that are not on today's agenda. I have a number of requests to speak, starting with Garth Pazant, followed by Sydney Weatherford. Sydney Weatherford.
I am happy to be here. If the American Black Panther Party was not allowed to police themselves, how in God's name may the Chinese have their own police station in the United States of America? Not only that point, the nations are milking America. They are running from the demonic gods and setting up shop in America, adopting more gods and feeding it to America. China has annexed portions of the United States of America. Do the people realize the implications of the above? China, pay us or get out. All must be aware of what God said about such enemies. The Bible book of Psalms, chapter 110, verse 6. He will execute judgment against the nations. He will fill the land with dead bodies. He will crush the leader of vast land. Subject. The Anglo-American world power has allowed babies to enter our country to be trained as supervisors without practical experience. Did these babies' parents, cartels, or dominating populations manipulate our Anglo-American brother? It's not going to happen on my watch. If my mission derives from mankind, my success will be limited. But if it is from God, you can't stop me. Pay the Black American now, because if you don't, will you be able to soften his heart when he takes over the earth? Subject, I ask America, Are the Chinese being taxed? Subject. The American black is our major consumer. Everyone else sends our revenue back to their mother country. Subject. From now on, all potential judges must be appointed by a panel of retired judges, not by the state governor who has no lawful experience. Fact. In the past, China and Japan boasted how they can whoop us. We blew them up with the hydrogen and nitrogen bomb, showed them a thing or two. Fact, in the present, China and Japan has partial ownership of the US of A. Are we getting anything out of it? Fact, they are now swindling us out of all the rest of our money and land. It's not gonna happen on my watch. A call to the black American again. We screwed you. Please help us. Whom is it that is living on the streets? The American and the black men. Where are the foreigners in this country living? Subject, if we make a holiday for every creative veneration under the sun, there will be no civil services. We will still be paying taxes for nothing gainful. There exist individuals whom are willing to work on holidays.
Cindy Weatherford, followed by Warren Colton.
Thank you very much. I'm here once again to speak in regards to the CSA 70 R22 Twin Peaks increase of our road maintenance. You should have a copy of this. I left it for you. And basically, it is the latest, greatest that they are offering us, which is basically the exact same thing that you asked them to change back in March 24th at the last county board meeting, where you denied their claim. The things I have crossed out on this list are things that are not particularly true. First of all, on the fourth paragraph, it says $18,000 is the level in 1989, when in fact, that is the latest level since 2002, when the last edition was added to it. However, the important thing is that I ask you to be involved directly is on the second page, where they want to add the 3% interest forever. There is nothing about the 5-year that the Article 13, Section 6.4b, which states, fees or charges based on potential future use of a service are not permitted. Now, according to the law, they are not allowed to go against any of the Article 18D, Section 6B, 1 through 5. It states clearly that all of those items need to be correct and followed through. And this one here, B4, which is clearly against what the law stands for, is not being followed and is being ignored. So I'm asking you to get involved with the special districts and not allow the 3% forever or at all. The amount they're asking for, which is $268.42, is a matter of the 3% for the last 34-year catch-up. What that does is it gives them, instead of $18,000 a year for their service, it is $48,000 and some odd per year for their service. And all we're asking is for the potholes and the snow removal.
That's time.
Thank you. Warren Colton, followed by Margaret Cashin.
My name is Warren Colton. I live in Lido Creek, California. I've been trying to see Mrs. Rao for the Board of Supervisors for the last 3 years. But for some reason, she refuses to see me. Number two, I met with Mr. Wardlaw. Mr. Wardlaw is the head of land use services for the for the county of San Bernardino. My complaint is the way people are taken care of here in the county of San Bernardino. I've been victim to a land use services violation where they wrote me citations. I've noticed these officers that come to my house carry badges. I don't know where this came from. They write citations. We have a court case coming up where I'm suing them for $200. $200. They wrote me a ticket for $200. It's going to cost them $25,000 just to defend themselves against my lawsuit coming up this Friday in court. I've tried to settle this with Mr. Wardlaw and the head of code enforcement. What they do, slough me off. They don't want nothing to do with this. I wanted to bring this to Mrs. Rose's attention because the problem is here, the county is completely getting out of control. They had a few years back, they had a tax, a fire tax for everybody who lives in the mountains. Well, a prior board of supervisors before Ms. Rowe, he eliminated that. For some reason, he went out of office. Now they brought it back, and they've added to our taxes on our house. The way they did this, they took it to the Federal Taxation Board down there on Hospitality Lane, and they just incorporated it with our taxes, like it went away. But that tax for the mountains has to do with double taxation. They were going to actually tax us for something we already paid for, fire services. It's just a way they increase taxes. They do these little bit at a time. Our Social Security gave us a big raise this year. Hope you do. Where'd it go? Back to you guys, county. Goes back to the state of California, taxes. Somebody's got to draw a line to this. I'm trying to see Mrs. Rowe to stop this aggression by the county code enforcement. They charged me a ridiculous price for a patio I built 10 years ago. I had to go out and get an engineer, which my background has civil engineering in it. I could have drew these plans up myself. But did they let me do that? No, they would not let me do this. They wanted me to go get an architectural engineer. It cost me $6,000 to draw up plans on a patio that already exists. Before this happened, the county of Los Angeles released my name has to do with a private citizen. It ended up getting me a restraining order that cost me my guns for 3 years when I didn't have it coming. I tried to bring this to the attention of the sheriff. I tried to bring it to the attention of the Board of Supervisors and my attorneys. Nobody does anything about it.
That's time.
Go away.
Margaret Cashin, followed by E. Planet Thunderstriker.
Good morning. Here to advocate for animal welfare in San Bernardino County. Would like to acknowledge in 2023, the Board of Supervisors have made important strides. This progress doesn't go unnoticed. Would like to thank Jennifer Osorio, the Assistant Director of Public Health, for her responsiveness and hard work. Also like to thank Catherine Kolcheva with Supervisor Hagman's office for her outreach and communication on improvements to protocols within DeVore Animal Shelter. Here are my comments for today. It's important that the county continue to try and make progress on rolling out spaying and neutering services. This will reduce the burden on the shelter and lessen the amount of intakes the shelter will take in. There are concerns that the challenges of finding veterinarians may kill this project. Here's statistics for cats at DeVore Animal Shelter from January 2023 through November 2023, waiting on December numbers. There were 2,090 total cat intakes. Of that, 50% were rescued by nonprofit shoestring budget rescues. 21% were adopted out, 21% were euthanized, the other 10% either died while being transported to an offsite vet, died at the shelter, escaped, or were returned to owner. Governor Gavin Newsom is trying to move the state to no kill. No kill means 90% save rate. DeVore is 10% away from this. It feels like it's an achievable goal. California Civil Code 1834.4 A and B state that it is the policy of the state that no adoptable or treatable animal should be euthanized. I know this is a challenge, but I hope we can work towards this. It sometimes feels like, due to the limited facility space at DeVore Animal Shelter, for a county that has more than 2 million residents, this shelter is there to quickly move the cats onward after their 96-hour stray hold. Currently, in the adoptable room, there are 36 kennels. There's a hospital room with 23 kennels, a rescue-only room with 21 kennels. Too few kennels for so many residents. I'm going to pitch again for additional structures or modular structures to be added. The new Bloomington shelter will not be completed for another 3 years. DeVore will still be in use after this for other animals. And then last point I wanted to talk about, there's something called quarantine holes. It seems when a cat gets trapped or brought into the shelter, if the trapper or individual reports that they were scratched while doing this, the cat goes into a 10-day quarantine hold. Rescues are not able to see these cats, nor are they granted access to, at a minimum, take photos or video to start pre-planning for the cat. Can this policy be changed? The last few cats on quarantine hold did not sound incredibly threatening. The reason I bring this up, it's not uncommon for the cat to be done. Once a cat is done with quarantine hold, the same day rescues rush in to get photos or share and see who can rescue the cat. It's not uncommon for quarantine cats to be listed within 24 hours, youth listed within 24 hours after the quarantine hold ends.
That's time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. ePlanet Thunderstriker, followed by Joaquin Castillos.
Hello, Board. Thank you. I'm ePlanet Thunderstriker. I spoke here around the middle of November. Most recently, I did public comments to the Board of Supervisors and the City Council for Riverside County and City. I told them that China mailed seeds to Taiwan Shipping Company in 2020 because of a situation I'm involved in. A celebrity lawyer started a worldwide citizens organization. There was a border conflict after COVID broke out. I made some suggestions to his citizens organization. Notably, countries have the option for 2 slots. One is a government individual. That would give China, Russia, other countries the oversight that they would need to allow an organization like that into their country. They stopped fighting and they mailed seeds to a Taiwan Shipping Company, and my only song that I've been able to produce because of a corruption in the American music industry is called Taiwan Thunderstrike. I told that to the board and the City Council for Riverside. I told them about problems I was having at the University of California, Riverside, and also in Irvine in Orange County. I won't go into those details, but the next time I went back there, it didn't go very well. One of the students did take a picture of a duplicate of what I dropped off to the consulate in LA in 2020. The next morning, I hear that 3 hostages were released from Hamas and that they were killed by Israeli forces. And then, of course, another day or 2 later, I don't know if this is true because it just gets more strange, that an Israeli sniper killed 2 women walking from a mosque in that area. And there's a lot of things going on here. I should have been talking to Homeland Security a long time ago. For County Board of Supervisors and multiple city councils, there's no questions or comments, trying to understand where I'm coming from, what should or shouldn't possibly be done. But I'm learning so many new things about our society. Largest incarceration in the world, 2 out of 3 crimes unreported. Students have active shooter drills, and some of their parents don't even know. And most recently, it used to be 2/3 of Americans were middle class, and now it's down to maybe like 40%. And what I've been trying to say is that our music industry is completely corrupt. Politics are starting to look pretty shady as well. Power Rising, a Black female empowerment group, maybe why our vice president's there, I don't know. Other issues related to Trump, and the FBI said maybe COVID was engineered, the Energy Department too, and just things going on. So I'm going to try and do some documentation, and 2 weeks is a long time to wait, but maybe something can happen in a couple weeks based on what I submit and what I do or don't do in between now and then. Thank you, though.
Thank you. Joaquin Castillos.
Hi, Board of Supervisors. I really commend you all for moving the item towards January 23rd and giving the community more time, to prepare and come to these meetings. Ask for a time off since the meetings are at a time that most people are working. But it just disappoints me to hear, still that kind of like giving the developer more rights than the people that live in the community. Armendariz, I'm not surprised of your comments. You know, your
Mr.
chief of
Castillo,
staff.
This is an opportunity to speak on items that are not on our
Yeah,
agenda today.
I'm not speaking on items that are on the agenda. But, you know, Jesse Armendariz, I'm not surprised that you're pro warehouse. You know, your chief of staff is the warehouse Warren, and her influence over you is evident. Kurt Hagman, you don't care about Bloomington, you never have. And I think it's time that we move forward from this and realize that when you are voting up there, you're not voting for anyone except for the people of Bloomington. You know, it sucks, and it sucks coming to these meetings time and time again, knowing that we have literally one person up there who we could vote in, and 4 people who do not represent us, who do not have any allegiance to Bloomington, only to themselves and their own interest. There has been times like the Cedar Truck Terminal where it just showed me the truth of what it is to be a resident of Bloomington. When I saw Joe Baca stand up in opposition to the Cedar Truck Terminal, talk about the concerns of the community, the concerns of the district, and why he doesn't want that project. And we had Kurt Hagman say that these were the wishes of the previous supervisor. Josie, what does she have to do with what we have now? Talking about this is what we need for the county, for the growth of the economy. It's like a slap in the face to the community, knowing that there are some people on the Board of Supervisors who are not there to even consider the people of Bloomington, their concerns, and the future of. If you drive by Bloomington today, you will see the destruction of our community firsthand. I have to drive by those streets every day. I see houses being torn down. I see the hill that I used to walk in being completely developed to build warehouses. It's like it's unrecognizable anymore. And that's due to the complacency of this board and the unwillingness to do anything to stand up to these developers and say that we don't need this no more, especially in areas like Bloomington that are already over impacted, that have faced the consequences for too many years. We need a board that is willing to stand up and fight for the community that you're supposed to represent.
Thank you. That is the last request to speak that I have. We stand adjourned. Our next regularly scheduled Board of Supervisors meeting will be January 23rd here in Chambers. Thank you.